This is 142.2, The Kingdom.
And once again, the Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're gonna have to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to another episode of 142.2 The Kingdom. I am your host, Dominic. We got Trizzy. We got Richard in the house. We got a lot of talking
What's up,
to
baby?
do
What's going
today.
on, Chiefs Kingdom? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, fellas? How we doing? How we doing?
Pretty good. Life's moving along.
Life is definitely moving along.
I don't know where this year's gone. Do you know it's 99 days before Christmas already?
That's amazing.
But we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're gonna go over the Eagles game, and we're gonna go over the preview of the Giants game as well. But obviously, let's just start off with the Band-Aid. Got to rip the Band-Aid when it's finally ready to heal. The Chiefs are now 0-2 for the first time since 2014, which is an insane stat. 11 years and 11 seasons since then. And we lost 20-17, a game where we held Jalen Hurts to only 101 passing yards, 19 rushes, did a very decent job defensively, but when it was time to really step up offensively, had ebbs and flows and a big turnover, and just a very disappointing outcome, especially at home in front of the fans for the first time all year. Big Super Bowl rematch. Trizzy, what are your initial thoughts?
Obviously, you don't want to be 0-2 coming into that game. The big Super Bowl rematch. A lot of emotions going into that game, but coming off the Super Bowl performance and obviously coming off that disappointing performance in Brazil against the Chargers. So you just wanted to see a different Chiefs team, and I think overall, I think they approached the game a lot differently. Especially on the defensive end, I thought the defense was outstanding. Considering the offensive line and those weapons, just coming out, at your home, your home opener. It's a lot of emotion that goes into that, but I just thought overall, like, obviously not the way we want to go, but I've seen improvement from a championship contending team. And even though we're sitting at 0-2 right now, this is just a lot of things that could have went our way and things that could have went their way. And at the end of the day, like you said, they just made more plays at the end. They're a better football team. I thought they're more healthier coming into the game. Obviously, that's football. A lot of people get injured. A lot of people are, without some of their guys. So I thought for us to come out there, with a lesser receiving crew, a running back room that's not really been productive, or at least have shown that they can be productive through these last 2 weeks. I thought it was a great overall performance from a Chiefs team that looked kind of depleted in that first week in Brazil. So all in all, I'm not 100% upset, but just left a lot of plays on the table, man. It's just so many things, even without having Rasheed Rice, even without having Zay. We've seen some rookies step up and play well. We've seen some guys come in and actually play well. And I got to tip my hat to Jalen Watson. I've been giving him a lot of slack. But, man, he had a great game. He was all around, flying around. Brian Cook looked like he's back healthy. He looked like the Brian Cook that we know. And it's just a lot of things that we left on the field in that game, man. But overall, I'm not too mad at the defense. I thought the defense played well. The offense though was just flat. Couldn't get separation. A lot. It's difficult when your quarterback is a leading rusher right now, and that's the kind of situation that we're in with not having guys that can separate and guys that are used to being in those type of positions. So overall, it wasn't a terrible performance, but just comes down to that execution, and they made more plays at the end of the game.
Yeah, I didn't think I pegged this before the season. I didn't think we were going to win this game, just because not having Rasheed Rice is a big deal. And I think even if Xavier Worthy was was healthy, it was still going to be a big challenge. And then the game happened, and it was a game we could have won anyway and let it slip through our fingers. And that's still what makes it a little bit frustrating. I will get to the offense later because I have a lot of things I want to say, but we will leave that for a little later on. But the defense showed the improvement that I wanted to see from week one. The secondary was a lot better. The pass rush still is anemic, and that is, I guess, going to be something that's going to happen throughout the season unless they can figure something out, because they're still not getting consistent pressure, and they're having to bring 5-6 guys and leave corners one-on-one and just praying that they can hold up in coverage. And they did for the most part on Sunday. But that cannot be a recipe for success. And they still lost the game, despite the fact that they held the opposing offense to 200 total yards and some change and only 20 points, which is their lowest output in a couple years. So
2023 in October, I believe.
Yeah, October of 2023 was the last time they scored under 20 points in a game, and they still lost the game. So that's where my frustration lies, and most of it's with the offense, a little bit with the defense, but they showed the improvement that I wanted to see. So hopefully they can take that and keep building on it as the season progresses.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
are they really fixing the pass rush with by blitzing? Like, I don't think, like you said, like it looked better out against the Eagles. I mean, I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball, but that's not their run first team. So if you're in situations where you're continuing to send guys at that high pressure rate, at that percentage, that leads for some bad things to happen. Now, granted, not a lot of things happen besides that. Maybe that Trent McDuffie ball that I wish, he probably was in position for. I'm not sure how he didn't make that play, but Trent's got to find a way to make that play at the end of the game. But I mean, again, just punting the ball, not having the momentum on offense. Travis Kelsey with the whiff catch on the goal line that could have put us up. It's just a lot of situations, like you said, we were outmanned, but I thought that we still had moments in the game where we executed and could have came out on top. It's just those little things killed us at the end, and for gosh, like I don't mean to call him out because this kid's been playing great for us, but where's George Kalafdis at, man?
Yeah. That doesn't help when he is just not getting the sack production and fresh off of a new contract. That while the new money doesn't kick in for 2 years, he's set in a contract until for the foreseeable future. And through 2 games, he has a lot of pressures, but he doesn't have any sacks. And this team as a whole does not have hardly any sacks. We have 3 official sacks on the season through 2 games, and they're all on 2 people, Drew Tranquil and Omar Norman Lott. We officially sacked Hurts twice, but one doesn't even get assigned to a player because nobody really did anything to touch him. So
I thought Drew Tranquil had 2 sacks that first game.
He did. 2 of our 3 sacks officially on the season are.
And I know George technically had a sack on that first game.
So
like Herbert was trying to go for a scramble and George caught him before he could get past the line of scrimmage. But that was like at the 8-yard line. So
okay, so
really
we have 4 official sacks.
But
yeah, he has like there's the production's not there. I'm going to be the one to say it. I think Chris Jones might have lost a step, if I'm being completely honest, because the numbers tell me he's not getting double teamed as much as he used to, at least through 2 weeks, and he's not winning. Like his win rates are average at best for the season. And I know it's only been 2 weeks and it's been against two really good offensive lines, but that's concerning, especially with the Chargers having essentially 3 new starters because Joe Alton had to move to the other side. Essentially, they have 3 new starting offensive linemen, and they couldn't generate consistent pressure. And he was getting one-on-one opportunities, and he wasn't winning. And that is concerning to me. Then something that's probably going to have to be monitored moving forward because he is the guy. This is who this defense has been built around. And if he's not winning, then who else can we realistically expect to win at a consistent basis on this defense? Because Charles Omenihu's not winning. George Karlaftis is not winning consistently enough to get sacks. He is winning enough to get pressures, but he's not winning enough to get sacks. Mike Dana's hurt again, and the rest are rookies. So,
Yeah,
Somebody's had some bursts here and there, though. So
He has flashed
he'll
out.
develop.
there's been flashes. I'm not saying that like Chris Jones is washed because he's not there yet, but it's just you don't see the consistent down to down dominance through 2 weeks, and the rookies just aren't playing. Like they haven't played much through 2 weeks so far, so we don't know yet. So there's a lot of unknown on the front seven, pretty much, and that puts a lot of pressure on the secondary.
100%. For me, I'm trying to think of like games where I felt like kind of this bummed, because the thing is that this game was very winnable. Obviously, it was at home. I didn't know they really wanted this win very badly, and I think the one thing that's kind of like caught in all the media sense is that the game's now about the tush push rather than how the Eagles were able to execute a very solid victory against us at home.
Yeah.
they
Because
make
the tush push is not the reason that the Chiefs lost that game.
no.
If I had to rank 10 reasons why the Chiefs
tush
lost
push
that
would be
game,
at the bottom.
it might be number 10, and that's pushing it. It might be number 10 on that list, and that's pushing it even then. So
I do
think
want to highlight though one thing about the tush push.
sure.
If that's Jawan Taylor,
And I think that's what's going to happen
That's
coming
penalty.
up is that when Chris Collinsworth, that week 1 game against the Lions, was like, he's false starting every time, the league kind of like trickled down and doubled down on let's make sure he doesn't do it. And that's why he got so many penalties. I feel like the same thing's going to happen for the tush push, but at the same time, it's like Tom Brady and I forget the name of the guy, the chief, like help it, the officiator guy on Fox, but he said it was a very hard play to officiate. So even if they do false start, it's still going to be hard for them to see it because it's kind of has a history of doing that. Because in 2023, I remember on the New Heights podcast, Jason said that Lane Johnson was in the neutral zone consistently, and the league was telling him, "Hey, let Lane know he's consistently doing that so that you don't do it," but they haven't really adjusted it. So it's kind of like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think it's getting a microscope, but that's not the reason the Chiefs lost. It's definitely not.
It's not. My one thing on the tush push, because that's not what this is about, but just as an aside, this is the bed the league made for itself when when the owners decided they were going to try and ban it on the grounds of player safety rather than proper officiating. Because I think it would have had a much better chance of being at least adjusted, if not banned, if people actually were complaining about the right things. Because this has been a thing with this play for ever since its inception, but nobody has talked about it like that until now. The issue has always been player safety. which was never an issue because nobody ever got hurt
injured
from running this play. So they were right for the wrong reasons, and this is the bed that you've made for yourself when you basically back the wrong horse. So we'll see what happens, but it's
if anything,
extremely
nothing's going to
low.
happen until next year. So the play is
Yeah,
going
it's
to
probably not even
stay.
going to happen. Yeah, it's probably not even going to happen until the end of this year anyway. So
But
at this point, all they can do is actually do their jobs and officiate it properly. So we'll see.
so I guess this is what I'm going to allude as I bring up some of the tape. For me in this game, I'm not I'm not going to criticize Mahomes' play because I think with what he's been given, he's doing the best that he can. And that's not really a huge diss to like Hollywood Brown or like Juju, but if you're looking at the talent versus talent of what we had versus what the Eagles had, it was a big mismatch except for quarterback and I guess tight end because Dallas Goedert was out and Travis Kelce proved in that game that he's still very valuable, even with the drop pass in the end zone.
I
But
agree.
I'm gonna bring up some stuff real quick. And it was the first pass of the game where I'm just like, and I know the Cowboys Giants game got in the way of everything of seeing like the
Yeah,
first.
couldn't even. Yeah, I
I
had to
was
watch the first
so
quarter. I had
pissed.
to watch the first quarter through film because we couldn't see most of the first quarter because of
But
overtime.
I'm going to bring it up real quick. A quick second. The first pass was to Noah Gray. Actually, let me stop sharing real quick while I book it up. But you could just tell at the very first moment that things kind of seemed like they needed everything to go right. And I think that's kind of the recipe that's been kind of happening for the past couple of years. And we're hoping for something different, something new. And sorry if it's taking me a second, but with the offense, I think for one thing, is it just me or does it feel like the game plan offensively is a little stale and predictable? Is that just me? I feel that
It's
for some reason.
definitely not just you, and I know Trizzy is more. I know Trizzy's thoughts on this are more on the general scheme of the offense. So I'll let him go on this first. But my biggest thing is the offensive line has been really bad through 2 weeks. But I'll let Trizzy talk about general scheme stuff with the offense.
So
And
this first play is the one I was thinking where, oh, this might be a long day depending on this play. And I know it's the first play, but you get a wide open Noah Gray, great like play calling, and Mahomes misses that. And I know
yeah,
there's a decent amount of pressure, but
yeah. Well, the first thing I do is, when you come back, if you go back to the beginning of the play, I love the fact that we're in our 12 and we're trying to get to our 12 and 13 personnel. I think that's the best formations and matchups that we want to get because we want to get some of those tight ends against those smaller safeties. And I just thought that Pat was a bit late with the ball, but I love the play call coming out. For that to be the first play instead of a run play, which is kind of shallow. And here you have a situation where you're bringing a kind of like a trips. You're bringing that to like a kind of like a doubles formation, only with tight ends. So you're gonna take Noah Gray, put him in motion, and nobody follows. Is that Kelsey or Noah?
that's Kelsey.
That's Kelsey.
Okay, that's Kelsey. Yeah, you're putting Kelsey
He
in
takes
motion.
he gets the double team immediately.
Yeah,
DeJean bites here.
yeah. So and that's what exactly what you want them to do right there. I'm not sure. Again, if it's just Pat not realizing that he actually has a little more time than he thinks, and the pocket's there, he doesn't have any room to step up, but he makes that throw day and night most of the time. And I think that's what it could be a little bit of that as well, because with Noah Gray was kind of like a non-existent guy last week. So you bring Kelsey in motion just to kind of make sure that the coverage is going to push towards Kelsey automatically, especially with Rice and Xavier Worthy being out. And it's a better look at it right here. We got doubles to the right. Now you bring that to formation. You bring Kelsey over here. Now it's doubles over here, and you get the same thing. You get him to bite down. The linebackers looking in at Kelsey, and you got the outside corner, which is Cooper or DeJean, one of those guys. He's biting down on Kelsey, so that's an easy throw over the top. I'm not sure why Pat is late on this ball because I've seen him do this like night and day. So the scheme is there. I don't think it's the scheme. I think it's the execution. I think it's the uncomfortability. I think it's the continuity of the offense, having the guys that's been there in training camp, to go over those plays. For you to have the game plan against the Eagles defense like that with a great front four, or at least Jalen Carter, kind of changes the way that defense looks. Obviously, you don't want to be in situations where it looks like to the naked eye that, oh, he just missed the throw. The continuity got to be there along with the reps, but that's unexcusable, especially from a veteran and one of the best players in the world in Patrick Mahomes. He has to find a way to get those guys going just right off the bat. And you want to get an easy completion that gives the team confidence coming in. Again, I don't think it's a scheme thing. I think they ran the right play coming out. They knew that they were going to be in too high, and they knew that Kelsey was going to be trying to take away from that game earlier. You don't want to get a guy like Travis Kelsey going earlier on because he's just going to pick you apart once he realizes and feels that coverage. So I don't think the scheme is wrong. I love the play call coming out actually. Obviously, it's not a shot or it's not a deep ball like everybody wants, but I don't think we have that personnel right now. So it's a lot about. Um,
Thanks, DG.
What up, BG?
what's up, DG? But yeah, just having those guys out there. I thought it was a great play call coming out. I didn't see that initially, but I did see the replay of that. And we got to get that ball to Noah Gray. I'm not sure why we're missing those type of throws and those type of concepts. It's very simple. It's kind of like a levels concept. You get a guy going over the top, and you get a guy going kind of intermediate towards the sideline. That's a completion night and day. So that's
And
just a missed call.
this is a Taekwon Thornton play right here.
Is this the missed touchdown?
Not the missed touchdown, but another missed opportunity from Mahomes, and he usually makes that night and day too. That's the thing.
My problem with this play right here. Yeah, let me get the back. Let me get the back of this. This is perfect because freeze it. Look at this pocket. Like this is exactly what you're wanting. Everybody shifts the right way. This is one of the few plays that I did not have a problem with the offensive line all night, all afternoon. Was on this play. Everybody shifts the right way. Everybody's passed off their guys. Josh Simmons has a fantastic rep. I'm on Jalen Carter here. I mean, this was probably his best rep of the night, and he just completely eliminates Jalen Carter from the play. But Pat leads Taekwon up toward the sideline and out of bounds. Like even if he catches that, he's not coming down in bounds on that play. You can put it on him. He's got the guy beat. He doesn't even turn his head around. That's the guy we wanted to pick on all afternoon was Adoree Jackson, and he's not even in a position to make the play, even if Pat puts it on a rope straight to him. Like,
just got to put it.
His footwork has been honestly really bad.
And that's another thing. And not to cut you off, Rich, but that's another thing too. With that's a Xavier Worthy play night and day. And not to have him there, it kind of stinks a little bit because if that's Xavier Worthy, he's going to come down with that ball, not because it's out of bounds or to the sideline, but because of the steps. Taekwon is just not quite there yet with the speed. He's a fast guy. He's a speed guy, and he can definitely lift the coverage off. He can definitely take the lid off the defense. But in a hindsight, you're dealing with a guy that runs a 4.2 versus Taekwon, who's in the 4.3, low 4.3, low 4.4 range, which is still fast, but it's not Xavier Worthy. And having that opportunities down the field obviously will cause for some more once we get one back. And I think that's another thing. Just I like Taekwon a lot, but you've seen Pat miss. You kind of seen Pat do the same thing with Xavier Worthy his rookie year, where it was like Zay was getting there, or sometimes Zay wouldn't get his feet in bounds, or sometimes it'd just be a bit overshot. Now you kind of working that Texas that Texas spring ball, like I like to call it, with Pat and those guys, And it'll come. I think it'll come. It's just the fact that you haven't had that many opportunities with him, and I just don't know like how to even explain that one right there. They're looking keen on Travis Kelsey once again, well, who did have a terrible bad game, but again, go back. So I don't understand why he missed this ball. Because once Kelsey comes out the break, the safety being towards Kelsey on the sideline because he thinks the ball's coming out there. Just lift it over the top, Pat. That's a touchdown, baby. Like, and I know he'll look on film and want that throwback. And it's a couple of them, but again, just having that continuity, having that rhythm with the offense. Not making any excuse because it should have been a touchdown, regardless if you had rest with him or not. He's butt naked wide open. But again, when you not used to having that type of continuity with the receiver, and those routes are usually not for guys like him. Even though it is going to be now, with guys being out and him being more healthy, him being able to press down the field and press those safeties a bit. We got to be able to understand that defenses. People in the Twitter world or whatever world might think Travis Kelsey is a shell of himself, but Vic Fangio sure didn't. So if Vic Fangio's respecting Kelsey, then we need to take advantage of that. And that was a missed opportunity right there. Just a lot of, like I said, we just left a lot on the field. Like that long throw, like you just saw at the sideline, another wide open throw to Thornton. Even though we ended up did hitting on one, but that's just stuff that we gotta have that. The pocket's clean. He's not getting pressured up the middle. He got tackles locked on the outside. We got to find a way to make that happen, and I think they will for sure. I don't think it's a never gonna happen thing. I just think it's a okay, like Kelsey is obviously going to be keyed on some of these plays, especially without having those guys there. And you see that safety beam up like that, you just got to lift that over the top and let them go run under it, go celebrate with the guys on the sideline, man. It's a great play call. It's a great scheme from Andy Reid, understanding that Big Fangio's going to try to take that away from Kelsey and, have that guy screaming wide open. So, again, I don't think it's the scheme. I just think it's the continuity and having those receiver in certain places. I'm not mad at the scheme at all. I don't think we can run the ball like we did last year, and I think that comes along with obviously Pacheco not having a vision and Kareem Hunt being a little older, but I would love to get 24 more involved, even though he's a rookie. But again, I don't think it's a scheme. I think we had some great play calls earlier on. I thought we was understanding what Vic Fangio wanted to take away some of his strong points of trying to blitz, and we started picking those things up, especially towards the end of the third quarter. And I think that play came kind of late in the game. So if those guys can just get on the same continuity, get on that same level as far as understanding what the defense is taking away in certain situations because we're usually really good at situational football. So for us to miss that, it's kind of just, one of those things, one of those throws I know Pat wish he had back.
So last year before the Super Bowl, we set a record for 17 straight games within in one score games. 17-0 and 17 straight one score games. And usually when you look at that in the next season, you kind of think, okay, those games are not going to go your way sometimes. And I think that's what's been kind of happening recently, especially when we've made some mistakes. Obviously, I'll bring up the Kelsey pop up in a bit, but I think the thing is with the deep throw, I think we kind of have to have the conversation that Mahomes' deep ball is kind of flawed now at the moment. Now things can correct it once Xavier Worthy comes in, more time in the season with Tyquan Thornton, like you guys said. But I mean, that last play that we showed, he missed him by like 5 or 6 yards. And if you look at it, and at first when I was trying to remember it, because we were talking about that in our group chat, I thought that Mahomes was getting pressured pretty quickly. You look at that, he has a clean pocket. And he pump fakes and then throws it 6 yards out. I mean, even last year when he was trying to get chemistry with Worthy, he was having these kind of off-target throws. And last year they were like, oh, it's the offensive line. This year, his pocket's been pretty clean. And he's been missing. And I know he's only really had Tyquan Thornton, so it's kind of hard I'm kind of grading him on a curve, if we're being honest. But if come Sunday night, and I'm thinking Xavier Worthy will be ready based off what he's doing in practice and everything. If this continues to happen, even with Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton being on the field, then it might just be the ugly games that we've kind of been winning last year happening this year if we don't get that figured out.
No, I'll disagree with that. And again, I think that so the offense wants to get the deep ball back, but here's the thing: like Patrick Mahomes and himself changed the way that defenses play guys who can throw the ball on a rope 50, 40 yards down the field like a Pat can, like a Josh Allen. Even you can even throw Lamar Jackson and some of those other guys in that category as well. Those defenses are meant to stop those type of things. You're not going to get many opportunities throughout the game to force throws down the seam like that. Are some of those throws unexcusable? Absolutely. But to say it's flawed, you would have to take a step further and actually identifying what makes it flawed. And I don't think that is flawed at all. I just think that Pat got a bit surprised by him being so wide open because he didn't expect those guys to bite on Kelsey like they did. He was literally triple teamed on that play, and I think that kind of caught Pat by surprise. And then again, like to say that like he made a tougher throw later in the game for a touchdown, like that was a way tougher throw than getting a guy wide open and just kind of lofting it up there and letting him run under it. He had to put that on the line, coming from a deep post with Tyquan, catching that touchdown late. So I don't think it's flawed. I think that continuity and coming along with trying to understand what the defense was taking away and what they were doing. I don't think that he expected those guys to bite on Kelsey like that. But I think it's an opportunity, when you have a guy like Rice working and you have a guy like Worthy working, you're going to be working every part of the field. The intermediate parts of the field is like we're kind of mastered those parts over the years, and we haven't been able to do that through these next two games. So I think it's a bit early to say that in the season, but I do understand the frustrations with not being able to absolutely hit on some of those plays, especially when you're wide open like the way that some of these guys are appearing on film. But to say it's flawed, I think that's a bit outside. I think that's a bit of a reach.
I guess I'm saying that based off the past couple of years of his deep ball statistics, but I know he's capable of it. I mean, we saw it throughout
Yeah,
his whole career,
seen it for
but
years.
Yeah.
to act like it's hasn't had a bit of a decline in the past couple of years, and I'm not trying to blame Nagy or blame anything because I think a lot of people, Chiefs fans, would just be like, it's Nagy's fault that the offense is bad since Eric Bieniemy left. But I don't think that's necessarily what it is. I think it's an amalgamation of a lot of things. I mean, the past couple of years, we've just had unfortunate circumstances with our wide receiving core and with the offensive line. But now the offensive line looks to be a little bit better, even though Suma Atia is a little bit up and down. I think that's the only real concern, I think, from the offensive line, other than Juwan Taylor and his penalties. But I mean, you look over the stats, his deep
I
ball
have a
passing
couple.
has gone down.
Yeah, I have a couple more concerns probably than you do about the offensive line, but we'll get to that.
Do you want me to start playing that now? Because I can do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll. Let's go ahead and roll it. And I'll preface this by giving a shout out to Nick Jacobs and Matt Derrick, who have kind of already talked about this before. It is not as bad as it could be, because anybody who remembers 2015 remembers that the Chiefs were in a really bad spot to start that season. Started out 1-5. Nothing was working. Jamal Charles tore his ACL, and nothing seemed to be going right. But something happened in the time that between them starting 1-5 and them rattling off a then franchise record 10 straight wins. They changed. Like, they actually things had to change, and it wasn't just a matter of, oh, we need to, feature a guy more here and there, or maybe we need to change calling this play instead of that play. No, really, it was they changed everything regarding the scheme, the offensive line, formations, blocking, everything. They had to change it all because the circumstances told them that nothing was working. And through 2 weeks, I'm going to be honest, not a whole lot is working in this offense to start out. And it honestly, for me, starts up front because this blocking, especially on run plays, has just not been good. And it's not been consistent down to down. A lot of what we're seeing is leaving guys on an island, one-on-one blocking. There's not a whole lot of combo blocks. There's not a whole lot of double teams. There's not a whole lot of guys moving somebody in the run game. I think you can kind of start seeing a theme with some of these early runs is that there's nobody moving anywhere. There's nobody getting blown off the line. There's nobody getting people on skates and moving them backwards. There's a lot of stonewalling. There's a lot of just masses of humanity that's getting compounded by the fact that we have two downhill running backs that are not getting a whole lot of opportunities to go downhill. Kareem Hunt's best run of the night, if we can get back to that, was him getting Skinny in a hole off of a double team. And that was the best run we saw all night, was him being able to, and that was one of the worst runs of the night because we got a whole bunch of people going one-on-one and not adjusting to personnel. This is not the run here. It's going to be coming up, but once we get there, I want to play this one back, but it's just the blocking scheme to me just doesn't seem like it's working. I mean, look at the double teams here. That's great. You got guys getting off the ball and getting people off the ball. Then the very next run gets Skinny off a double team. We only get 2 or 3 yards. Cool. That's fine. It's not perfect, but it works. One of the very next one, you got guys going sideways. Why are we having Isaiah Pacheco trying to run out? Guys go, get Skinny, double teams, gets north-south super quickly. You got 2 guys on one guy moving in the run game. He's able to get 12 yards just off that one run. You got guys getting to the second level, blowing people up, and the run game's effective. You're moving people. You're getting guys off the line of scrimmage, and guys have a hole to see and run through. A lot of my issue with the running game in particular so far is, yes, this is not the most dynamic running back group in the league. It's not. You have 2 guys who are pretty much doing the same thing, that they're one cut and downhill running backs that are going to have to get tough yards because they don't have that explosion right now. And then you're not even using your third back. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. That's another issue. But it's just not an effective utilization of your personnel off the running backs, first off. And secondly, you've spent so much effort and resources on this offensive line. You spent a second-round pick on Creed Humphrey. You spent a second-round pick on Kingsley Suamataia partly because he's an athletic guy who you could get in space to move people in the run game, and his pass pro would have to develop over the course of his career. You went out and gave a young, at the time, ascending tackle, athletic tackle, who was moving people in the run game in Jawan Taylor. You spent a bunch of money on a mauler in Trey Smith. and you just spent a first-round pick on another super athletic tackle in Josh Simmons.
Who looks
Why
great.
are we have spent so much money and resources on this offensive line, and through 2 weeks, they're 31 out of 32 teams in run block win percentage, win rate percentage. 31st. That just can't happen. And that's just not good enough for how much you have spent on this offensive line to be productive down in and down out. And what you have them doing down in and down out is not conducive to the personnel that you have. Get guys moving one-on-one, combo blocking to the second level instead of trying to run inside zone every down from shotgun or anything but under center, and let these guys get downhill and actually be able to follow people. I see too many people going east and west. I see too many people having to immediately make cuts because these guys aren't winning one-on-one blocks in a zone blocking scheme. It's just not working. And something has to change in that regard because you don't have the personnel to be going east-west like this. You just don't have it. And if you're not going to use Brashard Smith to run the football, then you need to adjust your blocking scheme to the personnel because they're not going to get the job done doing what they're doing right now.
Oof.
It's not good. Like I'm usually one of the last people that's going to question great minds who have forgotten way more about football than I have ever learned to this point in my life. But this is not an isolated thing to just this season. This has been a thing that has been happening for the last at least 2 years now and 2 weeks going into this season.
That's not true.
Something has to change.
We were the number one run success team until we moved Joe Tooney to tackle. That's not actually true. Last year. I don't know about this year, but last year, no. We were actually leading the NFL in run success.
Yeah, but we were in run success, yes, but we were still near the bottom in
Rushing
explosive
production.
plays with basically the same personnel because we're still trying to run people east-west instead of north-south. We were running people north-south. Yeah, Kareem Hunt was getting 8 yards per rush, and we were able to actually use play action and when we actually went under center, things were actually moving in the running because they actually had to respect play action fakes. Defenses aren't respecting that because you don't have the personnel or the blocking scheme or the formations to actually make people respect it. That I think is also part of the issue is our tight ends have been awful blocking through 2 weeks. I don't know what they have against Noah Gray, but why is he blocking more than he's running routes? Why is Robert Tonyan only getting 5 snaps just to block in all of them when they spent all preseason showcasing him as a guy who can be a legitimate receiving option in this offense? Like, I don't understand the personnel decisions. I don't understand why we're having some guys do what they're doing. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me through 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And I'll be honest, something needs to change because I don't think we're going to win a lot of games just trying the same thing and hoping it works.
I think that the biggest point that we're missing here is the fact that you go through training camp with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and all of those guys. We're never going to be a run first team. We didn't give Patrick Mahomes that type of contract for us to be a run first team. We're a pass first team. So when you don't have those weapons on the field, obviously you have to do things differently. And I think that's the ingredient. Like you just said, the personnel is different right now. Obviously, you didn't. We obviously kind of anticipated Rasheed Rice being gone, but now you throw in a first round draft pick and an explosive player like Xavier Worthy being gone. That changes the way that defenses are going to scheme up for your team in general. So of course, some of those you're going to have more players in the box. Of course, some of the things are not going to be working earlier on because you didn't plan to be missing guys as much as you're missing on Xavier Worthy. Obviously, the Rasheed Rice thing was kind of inevitable with him being suspended. But I think when those pieces get back, it'll be easier for us to kind of scheme and see some of those things that we want to see. Because if Rasheed Rice here and Xavier Worthy here, that run probably looks a little better knowing that you have to not the box not be so light. When the box is 7, 8, in the box, and you're trying to ask these guys who aren't, haven't played more than a couple games together as a full unit, you're gonna have some growing pains. And I think that's what we're going through right now. Especially not having the guys out there that you want to have out. Not to mention Jalen Royals, who hasn't even played a game in the Chiefs uniform yet as a rookie. So there are a lot of growing pains that's going to happen, especially with a team like this that you're expecting them to air it out. You're expecting them to be efficient on first and second downs, making it a lot easier for guys like Kareem, guys like Pacheco to find holes and to get those run fits actually, so we can get the ball movement, so we can get those maybe 3 to 4 yards of carry consistently. Once those guys get back, that will change the way that defenses prepare for us. That'll give us more opportunities in between the tackles. When you're filling the box with 7 or 8, like for now, you see that right there. There's about 7 guys in the box and they're playing man to man. Why? Because we don't have the guys on the field to make them do anything else. When you got guys on the field that makes you change the way that, again, 7, 8 in the box, looks like 9 in the box right there. Like stuff like that happens, it's gonna be tough to move people off the ball because you're outnumbered. You don't have that many guys blocking. You got 5 linemen with the tight end coming in, even if you do run 12 or 13 personnel, you're still outmanned in the box, and you don't have the threat on the outside to make those guys move those defenders or move a safety outside or move a corner. Like you don't have those guys right now, so it's going to be growing pains for sure. Do I think it looks different with the Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy back? Of course, but that's going to be the growing pains that you have to go through, especially when you're dealing with injury, suspension, and guys just not being available with Jalen Royals and Worthy being out those first couple of weeks, and then not having Xavier Worthy the third play into the start of the season. So does that suck? Is it happen to people? Sure, but are you are you going in your playbook? Are you going in your offensive scheme, picturing yourself having to deal with these pains so early? Probably not. So for them to kind of adjust on the fly is going to be growing pains for sure.
Yeah. It's just rough. And I know the injuries and everything, but I think the thing is that you this next game, I know for some people it's the Giants, and you look at the Giants, like looking at the Chiefs as an 0-2 team is different than looking at the Giants as an 0-2 team. But I feel like this game could be pretty tough depending on how their defense does against our offensive line, especially when you got Abdul Carter and is it Brian Burns, I believe.
Brian Burns,
Yes.
Dexter Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, like
Dexter Lawrence,
that's
not Dexter
Yeah,
Lawrence, Dexter
that
Williams. No.
defense, like
that's a good defensive line.
But the thing is, the
it's a
Cowboys just
good name.
lit them
Like
up too. So
they're the worst defense in the league right now.
yeah.
So those are good names, but
It's a
they have
good defensive line, but their back seven's not good.
yes.
So
But even when we've played, not great defenses last year, they still made it close games. I'm not saying that we don't have the ability to blow out the Giants. I just don't. I think if you look at the line where it's -6, I kind of would rather. I think +6 from the Giants makes more sense because I think it's going to be a close game. Because because every time we think it's going to be a blowout, it ends up being a close game.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing on this team. And when I said the play calling is a little stale, and we looked at the plays that should have worked in theory, but the execution didn't happen. Those plays obviously should be home runs, and we should have been able to execute properly. But there's other parts of that game plan, like when we went 4th and 2, where we're in our own territory and we're being a little too aggressive, and we're doing the same exact 4th and 1 Kareem Hunt handoff that we've been doing for the past 2 years. There's the run game seems a little bit stale in terms of the play calling. I think the pass, it's just wide receivers. Like Hollywood's good, but he's a good wide receiver 2 or 3. I don't know about wide receiver 1 at the moment. Just there's some moments where I feel like the play calling could be a little bit better than what it is. But I think this Giants game, it's obviously a must win, and obviously let's get our mojo back, because right after that we host the Ravens. So
Which is
this game's pretty big, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, I mean, obviously present a ton of problems with Malik Neighbors, and I don't. eh, Russell Wilson played well against the Cowboys, but I think they have growing pains in that secondary as well, with having some new faces there. Outside of the defensive line for the Giants, I just, like, I'm not selling no tickets about it being a close game. I think our defense came to play last week, and against a good Eagles team, against a good offensive line, maybe the best offensive line in the league outside of maybe Buffalo and some other teams. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I think we should be able to put our imprint on this game. It's a big Sunday night game. We never beat the Giants on the road before. So having the opportunity to do that on Sunday Night Football and kind of change the way that we're executing and getting those down and distance plays, I think we'll be a little bit more comfortable with who we are in this week. I think we've seen some of the growing pains on defense and offense. More so offense last game than defense. I thought the defense played well. There were moments where we could have executed better. I thought Brian Cook played outstanding. I thought Jalen Watson was good. I thought the linebackers were a little better. So you're going to have problems like that in week 3 football. But for us to, be giving the Giants this magic cord, like, I don't understand that. But I mean, I guess
Well,
we'll
I'm
see.
not predicting a Giants win. You see the past couple of years, even games where we feel like it should be not uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. And even with Xavier Worthy back, we still don't have Rashee Rice back. And we're finally getting Jalen Royals involved, but our running game still, if Patrick Mahomes is the number 6, is 16th in the league in rushing, that's a problem. So to act like it could be a comfortable victory, and that would be awesome, but based off the past couple of years, we don't really get comfortable victories as often as we should. So I still think we're going to win, but to act like it can't be close I just think that's a little. I'm not saying it's disrespectful to the Giants, because I don't think they're going to win, but to say that, I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as we would like it to be, and that's just the past history. Personally, I think they're going to win, and I
I
think
don't
they
think that
should
the
blow them out.
Giants. I don't think the Giants present the same problems as the Chargers and the Eagles, offensively or defensively. Like, let's be serious.
Defensively,
Did
definitely.
did the Panthers last year prove to be that they were in the same like atmosphere as what the Giants are this year, and we had to do a walk-off field goal to win the game.
That was last year.
They
And
the,
that's what the same team, it's kind of
for
the same vibe.
for me, defensively, they are not. They are definitely not the Chargers or the Eagles. Quite frankly, those are probably the 2 best defenses outside of Denver that we'll probably see the rest of this season.
100%. I agree.
Look, they may be 0-2, but their offense is not is a good offense. Like I get it's Russell Wilson. Like nobody's blown away by their run game. Russell Wilson is going to do what Russell Wilson does, but clearly he's figured out something with Wan'Dale Robinson. Malik Neighbors is always going to be a threat. And look, they scored 37 in a game that they lost. And Brian Daboll needs a win. This Giants team needs a win just like we need a win. And so, +6 for them, that sounds fair. Completely fair to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a dogfight, because Xavier Worthy, he had all offseason to work, and it's not like I don't know how good he is coming into this game. Yeah, he's good enough to practice, but how many hits is he going to be able to take this season? What's he gonna look like trying to catch the ball when he's having to go full speed instead of whatever speed they go at in practice? Is Jalen Royals good now, finally, after a month of dealing with knee tendonitis? How much impact is he going to have? Because clearly we're not playing rookies on this team, apparently, through 2 weeks, unless somebody gets injured, because we just finally started seeing that out of the rookies last week. So I don't know what is going through this coaching staff's mind when it comes to personnel, but if it's the same personnel usage and ideas as it was the first 2 weeks, I'm going to need to see something different. Like I'm tired of people telling me. I need people to show me at this point. Like this is Missouri. This is the show me state. I need you to show me, man. Like this, we can't. Getting to the playoffs, starting 0-3 is certainly still doable, but there's a reason only 6 teams have done it in NFL history. So they need to win. Like there's no two ways about
it.
They
Both sides need a win, and
they have to win. They have to win this game. Like I hate saying that in week 3, but I think they have to win this game because they need to show people something that says that they need to be taken seriously, because the good teams have beaten them. They need to beat this team. I think they're still a more talented and an overall better team than the New York Giants. Well, I need you to show me on Sunday night, with everybody watching yet again, that you are better than this team, because you haven't shown that you're better than the Chargers or better than the Eagles, because you've lost the game. So you need to show me you're better than the Giants at the very least, so we can start getting some sort of momentum going through the rest of the season.
And it's not like we're saying the Giants are going to win, but to make it seem like
I expect the Giants to lose this game, because I think we're better than them, but they haven't shown it to me through 2 weeks. That's the problem.
So I think it's going to be a close game, regardless whether we like it or not. It's just now, if they blow them out or if they do win comfortably, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, like if secondary plays like they did against the Eagles, that's great. Like I'll take that. Absolutely.
How we feel. I don't. Y'all can put the Giants on y'all pedestal.
It's not a pedestal. We're being realistic about what's been happening.
Like they should beat this team by 2 scores. Personally, I think this team is good enough.
If we still think they're gonna win, but it's still close, there's still concerns to have. It's not like
this week 3. Every team has concerns. Without Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, you're gonna have concerns. Without guys being out there, you're gonna have concerns.
But we think that even without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, this team should beat the Giants, correct?
I still think they should beat them by 2 scores. With Xavier Worthy, this team should win by 2 scores.
Exactly.
Like if they don't, then they're playing around. Like, I'm sorry. If they don't beat this team by 2 scores, they're messing around.
I'll take a
For no
dub.
reason.
I'll take a dub. However it happens, but to act like it's going to be
I'd like to see
super
I'd like to see
comfortable,
a
I
complete
need to
game.
see it be comfortable.
Yeah. I'd like to see a complete game. I've seen they were still a top 10 offense statistically against the Chargers. So that's great. But the defense didn't show up. Week 2, the defense was great. But the offense left way too many plays and points on the board. Let's see if we can put it together. Let's see if we can get it all together. Now that Xavier Worthy's back, now that they basically have the full complement of receivers that they expected to have going into week 1. And they basically have everybody minus probably Christian Fulton is not going to be playing in this game.
No,
And Mike Dana is probably not going to be playing in this game, which is a shame because Christian Fulton actually looked pretty good in week 1. We're just gonna have to see. Hopefully, we see more of the rookies because Ashton Gelati played well in his limited snaps. Omar Norman Lott played well in his limited snaps. Has Jeffrey Bassa gotten a snap yet? I know he has, but like, can we get this guy on the field?
Has he just been
maybe
special teams so far, really?
Mostly special teams. Yeah, same with some of these other guys. Like
Noah Williams played well though.
Yes, Noah Williams
really
also played very well for his first true NFL action, like extended NFL action. Like he played very well for what he was asked to do on the fly. So Spags, at least, even though it was injury related for the most part, has started playing his rookies. Like I need Andy to find something for these guys to do during a game. Like even if it's give Brashard Smith a series at least. If you're not going to give him third downs to run routes and see opportunities, give him a series. Let's see what he can do against a front 4 that wants to get after it. Let's see what he can do. Like let this guy get some opportunities. If Jalen Royals is a go for this game, great. Please use him, even if it's something like.
What about Trizzy's guy, Nico Remigio? Could we use him a little bit in the passing game, please?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I'd love to see that too. Since apparently Brashard Smith is only taking returns now instead of Nico, let's get Nico a few more routes, I guess.
He'll get his opportunity. He doesn't know the plays. Not that he doesn't know the plays. He doesn't understand the offensive scheme, meaning that when you're sitting out there and whatever the play call is, whatever the defense is, you got to know your assignment. And 2, you got to be able to understand how to execute in different coverages, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. It's a lot different coming into the NFL. I think the speed of the game is, obviously bothering the way that Andy Reid is letting Brashard Smith go. But, once that kid starts showing that he can handle the load, once he starts showing that, he can do that, I think he'll get his opportunities more and more so. And I'm not sitting up here, saying that it's any given Sunday. Anybody can win on Sunday. We've seen teams win that we didn't think would win. We've seen guys come up and make plays that we didn't think would make plays. I'm not sitting up here acting like this is not the National Football League. But all I'm saying is when your first 2 weeks, you're playing against 2 of the toughest defenses in the league as of now. And, you're without guys that are key pieces. It's not like, these guys that we're missing are scrubs on the back street or practice players. Like, these guys are a huge part of our offense, probably like 40% if you're talking about Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. So not having those guys, they're going to look different. Defensively, week 1, we didn't show up. Chargers played damn near perfect, and we still had a chance at the end of the game, to make those plays. We just did. The defense was just not there. And then you say it again next week, it's the offense. It's going to be, warming up time. It's going to be filling out time. It's going to be different experiences. It's going to be different fights throughout the season. The question is, once we get all the guys back and once we start getting, humming towards early December and, maybe late October, early November, when we start humming and getting Rashee back, he's going to be out another 3 weeks. He gets to come back week 7. Right before he actually comes back the day before my birthday against the Raiders, and I'll be at that game. But You know, we're gonna have some growing pains regardless of who we're playing against. Yes, but I think, just coming away that the defense played last week. I know that they had to blitz a lot more than what we probably like in certain situations, but you got to think about, the guys who's on the other side with the top five offensive line, if not top three, if not top two. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. Are the Giants? Is Malik Neighbors good? Absolutely. Is their offense AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, and fucking Devontae Smith? Absolutely not. With that offensive line, for that defense to play like that and have opportunities like that, I think they'll be well up for the challenge. It's a great opportunity then for to go on the road and get their first win of the season. Excuse me. So I'm not discounting the Giants as an opponent. excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me, chat. I'm not discounting the Giants as an opponent, but I think the Chiefs have a lot more on their mind, especially with getting things going and getting their first win of the season. It's not necessarily about that. It's just about creeping towards playing good football, and I think we've seen the defense do that. So I don't think that that's a warm up thing either. I think that's the defense we expected to see week one against the Chargers, and things didn't go our way. I think the Chargers had a different game plan. You come in week two against the defending champs, and you shut them to 20 points. Now, if I close my eyes and read off some stats to you with Jalen Hurts having 100 yards and Saquon Barkley being under 100 yards and Devontae Smith being under 100, if I read off those stats to you, we win that game. But obviously, we don't execute. So can we execute when it matters the most? That's what football comes down to, is making those plays more than the other team. And I think we have a better team situationally throughout the game than the Giants do. Absolutely. Can they go out there and show it is the biggest question. And I think they'll be up for the challenge.
Yeah. I think all of us have the Chiefs winning for sure. Like I do. I just
Chiefs by
I
10
I
plus.
I
Like
really
that.
want them to have a comfortable win.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes I just
I
want to
think
see it.
I think we to beat them by 10. Like I think they should be able to beat them by 10 and feel good going into the Ravens game. They
Because
just got to put it together.
we can't take these. I know
These
we're
are the
waiting.
games you cannot take for granted. Like
Right.
these are the games you have to have over the course of a season, because their next 3 weeks after this are Ravens, Jaguars,
Jags.
Lions,
And
Yeah,
then we have the Raiders, and then we have the Commanders.
and then it's Commanders, Bills after the Ravens. Like
It'll
you
be a big. It'll be a
got to
big
have
week.
these.
It'll be a big week for those tackles. I think if they can get through this game clean without giving up any sacks, I think that'll give them huge confidence going into the Ravens game. I think that defense is struggling really bad. I don't think obviously Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry present some problems, but not skipping ahead or anything. But obviously you want to have confidence going into that game. And if you're telling me that the Chiefs don't give up any sacks against a Dexter Lawrence who has to go up against Creed Humphrey. They're going to try to move him around. You don't want to be going up against Creed.
Right.
Josh Simmons gave up zero pressures last week against, had some pretty good reps against some great players. So
And
is that giving me confidence going into this Giants game? Absolutely. Is it time for us to attack the ball and be consistent and Pat maybe hit a few more throws and execute at the end of the game? And we're literally talking about us being outman and still coming down to one play at these last 2 weeks. So I just think that we have to be more in the moment. I think that we have a better team, obviously, but I do think that those moments matter. And you just take a look at that Eagles game last week. People didn't even have us, people had us losing by 10, getting boat race. It came down to Travis Kelsey doing what he does day and night and day. Nobody was expecting him to drop that ball. But when you make mistakes like that and you leave blood on the what we say, you leave blood on the water, the sharks are
Sharks
coming.
gonna get it. Yeah.
Sharks gonna get it. So you got to be able to execute in those moments. And we're literally talking about a Chris Jones going outside. I have no doubt in my mind that Patrick Mahomes drives down the field and makes that game. And then we're talking about you give me the ball with a schemed up Travis Kelsey coming out of double slants. Travis Kelsey breaks his route inside and wins. And we just a little quick, a little high on the ball, but it still hits his hands. That's a touchdown any day of the week. But I think the pressure was there. I think they were feeling it. And obviously, you know, you don't want to fall short in those moments. But I think this team has proven over and over again. It's not like we've walked to these Super Bowls. It's not like we've walked to these AFC Championship. It's not like everything's just been cotton candy and peaches, you know, making the way that we've done and going on this historic run that we've been on. I think that we've had to make plays and we had to rely on guys that we maybe hadn't to rely on. And I think that coming into this week, this is a battle tested team. They just 0-2 right now, and they have to show worth and they have to make those plays at the end of the game. But if you're telling me that this Chiefs team, who's like I said, you know, regardless of what the media says and anybody else says, we've been a part of this fan base for a long time, and we've seen the Chiefs. Their first playoff game, they were down 24 points. Shit, you know what I mean? Like it's been different moments. It's been moments where this team has had to rise to the occasion. So do I think this team can rise to the occasion? Absolutely. No doubt about it. Now let's just go out and have a night against the Giants, and then we get to host the Baltimore Ravens at home. I'm excited about that. So I think it's obviously it's frustrating when you're 0-2 and it's going to cause some, you know, heads to be butted and rightfully so. But I think, you know, we have the right coach. I think we have the right players. I think we got the right quarterback. I think we got the right DC. It's just about going out there and making those plays and executing those moments that I know we can make. We're literally talking about a missed deep ball to two of them to Thornton. He missed not one, but two of those deep balls for touchdowns. And it's just the little things that we have to do in and out of game that will cause those moments to be bigger than what they look like. So I'm excited about the opportunity that the Chiefs has to overcome some adversity, and it's not like this will be the first time that they've done so.
I have the Chiefs. I think if they get Baltimore, and I think having Baltimore early bodes well for the Chiefs rather than later, because I think based off Baltimore's proven track record, their defense does get better over time, kind of like how ours does. I'd rather play them early, like we're about to, but we need to get through the Giants first, and
Absolutely.
I think they're going to get the dub. I really want them to show the league that, you know, that being 0-2 does not phase them. But I believe they'll win. I would like to see a comfortable victory, and I'd like to see a 10-point, 14-point victory. I'm just a little bit more on the cautious side is all. But
Yep.
that's just me. It's going to be Sunday night football against the Giants in MetLife. Like Trizzy mentioned earlier, this is the first time the Chiefs have an opportunity to beat the Giants in MetLife ever, I believe. So that's kind of huge.
Pat's first game against the Giants?
No, I think he played them a
Or
couple
did
years
he play?
ago.
Or did we play them at Arrowhead a few years back?
We played them
Okay.
at Arrowhead, maybe like
in 2021.
Yeah, it was a few years back. Okay.
So this will be his second game against the Giants, but his first game in MetLife.
Against the Giants. He played MetLife against the Jets.
Yeah, he played the
Against
Jets,
the Jets,
when
against
Zach
the
Wilson had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best game
This
of
will
his
be
career.
his first game in MetLife against the Giants, correct?
Against the real home team.
Yep.
But
Against the guys who actually play in New York, not.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Obviously, we wish it was a 2-0 or 1-1 record, but hey, let's get this victory against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. You're listening to us via X, via YouTube, wherever you're listening to podcasts. We'll see you guys next week, and let's get a dub. Let's get a dub for Kansas City. All right.
How about those shoes?